Ricardo Paraon, Vice President Roderick Consuacion, Assistant Vice President Arnold Salvosa, and Assistant Vice President Carmelita Twinkle Valdez. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Also, the members of the House present.
The members present right now is we have Representative Ted Haresco, Representative Bong Suntay, and Representative Carlos Arate, and we still have 53 members still logged in with our Zoom account.
We will now start. The chair would first recognize from the minority, Representative Franz Castro, for your 3 minutes. Sorry, would you?
Mr. Chair.
I understand the present. We will not anymore deal with the presentation, considering they have already furnished the members. So we will now recognize from the minority, Representative Franz Castro. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Yes, please proceed po.
Yeah, thank
3
you.
minutes.
In their presentation, Mr. Chair, the PAGCor, they remitted a total of 17 billion cash dividends to the National Treasury. Remitted also a total of 14.5 billion to Social Civic Funds project of the Office of the President. So, my question, Mr. Chair, and another 2.5 billion, from 14.5 billion, remitted in. So, my question, Mr. Chair, may I know the breakdown of the expenses of this 14.5 billion? So, alam po ba natin saan napunta ito? Mr. Chair, yung 14.5 billion remitted to the Office of the President.
Anybody, the chair would like to recognize anybody from PAGCor to respond to the query of Representative Castro.
Mr. Chair, the fund we remitted to the Social Civic Project Fund, usually the Office of the President submit to us an audited report of their fund utilization. Nito lang pong pandemic, nagkaroon ng pandemic, hindi po updated. And mostly po, based on the submittals to us, most of it po for healthcare related din po na expenses yung nakita ko po dun sa last na fund utilization report submitted to us by the Office of the President, duly verified by the audit team leader of the Office of the President po.
Mr. Chair?
Yes. Representative Franz Castro.
Can we ask for the written written report by the PAGCor or from the President about the...
For a while, Congressman, may I request all the members of the House attending via Zoom to please put on mute your microphone. Please put your microphones on mute. Representative Franz Castro, please continue.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Moving on, may I request, Mr. Chair, from the PAGCor, the complete liquidation of this 14.5 billion contribution of the Social Civic Fund given to the Office of the President.
Okay, the Chair would like to request the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation to submit to the Committee on Appropriations the request of Representative Franz Castro regarding the detailed liquidation. Representative Castro. Meron po pa? You still have a couple of...
Yeah, may I hear the commitment of the PAGCor, Mr. Chair? Can I hear the commitment of the PAGCor, Mr. Chair?
Your Honor, we will submit po the requested utilization report.
Salamat po. Second question, Mr. Chair. PAGCor's school building project. Alam naman po natin ngayon, Mr. Chair, kailangan po natin ng ligtas na pagbabalik eskwela ng ating mga estudyante. So in its presentation, again, earlier, school building project as of December 2019, completed construction of 6,481 classroom in 929 sites, 222 classrooms and 32 sites are under construction. So Mr. Chair, may question, magkano po ba yung kabuuan na pondo kaugnay nito? Completed and under construction.
From PAGCor. Do you have the data now? Can you respond to the query of Representative Franz Castro?
Mr. Chairman, yes. The school building projects were the projects of the previous administration. I think the total amount which was transferred to the public works was around 12 billion. What we are completing now are those projects which were not finished during the previous administration. So this is a carryover of the previous projects of PAGCor. But we have the breakdown of the schools for the 9,000 classrooms which were completed, as well as the areas where the 220 where the other not completed classrooms. It will also be submitted, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Franz Castro.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Last year, kaya ko po na itanong ito, Mr. Chair. Last year kasi lumabas ang issue ng non-existent classroom sa ilalim ng programang ito na nadiskubre ng COA. So yung mga anomalies in the construction of 211 classrooms with the project cost of 393.45 million. Some of these were not yet completed but reported as 100% completed by the PAGCor. Non-existing school buildings included in the record, cases where construction has not yet started but public bidding was already conducted months before. Cases where construction were already abandoned. So, Mr. Chair, gusto lang natin masiguro na walang ganitong anomalya muli. Present a report na containing the names of schools and their locations, project cost of each status, and other details. Pwede po ba natin makuha yan, Mr. Chair, sa PAGCor?
The chair again directs PAGCor to submit the list, particularly of the school building program of PAGCor, submitted to the Committee on Appropriations.
We will comply, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maghuli po, gusto natin masiguro na akma ang school building project sa malawak na panawagan for safe and COVID-free learning spaces. Ligtas at dekalidad na balik eskwela ang panawagan ng mga guro, kaya standard yan, malaking classroom kung saan posible ang physical distancing. Well ventilated, handa sa mga pasilidad gaya ng on-hand na disinfection at water and sanitation. So Mr. Chair, dapat umangkop ang programa ng PAGCor sa school and classroom building sa kasalukuyang kondisyon at panawagan ng mga guro at estudyante. So yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Representative Franz Castro. Anyway, the COMSEC, please take charge on the data and information requested from PAGCor, and also submit a copy, furnish a copy to Congresswoman Franz Castro. Next, the chair would like to recognize from the majority, Deputy Speaker Henry Oaminal. Next on the list, Representative Carlos Zarate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My questions are directed to PAGCor, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed, Congressman Sarat.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Even during the pandemic period, no, from March up to, until now, Mr. Chair, isa sa mga pinayagan na mag-operate ay yung POGO. No? So, mayroon lang akong tatlong main questions dito sa POGO, Mr. Chair. Una, ano na ang status nung napaulat na uncollected 27.35 billion in tax liabilities from these errant POGO operators, Mr. Chair?
From PAGCor, who would respond? PAGCor.
Your Honor, perhaps one of the PAGCor officers who's in Zoom right now may be able to give light to that.
And who would that be?
If I am not mistaken, it would be yes, Satria.
Who?
Wait a second. Attorney Tria. Your Honor.
The chair would like to call on Attorney Tria. Attorney Tria of PAGCor, are you there in the Zoom? There is a query from Congressman Representative Carlos Zarate with regards to the update on the POGOs. Attorney Tria?
Your Honor, if Attorney Tria is not present, may we perhaps call on Don D. Orlina, Vice President Don D. Orlina. Perhaps he can shed light to it.
Yes.
Your Honor, good evening. I am Don De Orlina. Certifications are submitted to the Office of Offshore Gaming Licensing Department. On our part, I will ask that department to submit the reports on how much have been collected because it is licensing department gives a certificate for them to operate again, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, I'm
Yes,
a bit,
Representative Zarate.
I'm a bit disappointed, no? Alam naman nila na pupunta sila ngayon sa budget hearing at tayo ay magtatanong ng mga information related sa kanilang operation at hindi naman ito nakapagtataka na itanong yung POGO dahil isa yan sa pinaka-controversial na activity during the time, even before the COVID-19 pandemic and even up to now, no? So, dapat handa tayo kung humarap kayo dito sa hihingiin naming datos. Hindi na i-refer sa isang departamento, i-refer kung kani-kanino. Mr. Chair, isa ito sa sinasabi ng PAGCor na kaya ayaw nilang ipasara dahil ito raw ay isang major source of revenue for the country. But that's why I was asking, no? For several years, these offshore gaming operators have been operating here, but they're not paying the correct taxes. And we are turning a blind eye and, nagbibingi-bingihan lang tayo. 27.35 billion is 27.35 billion tax that should have been used, no? Especially during this time, na nangangailangan tayo ng pondo. Utang nga ng utang ang gobyerno dahil kinakulang panggastos. Then, that's why I was asking. No? But at any rate, Mr. Chair, I hope the next time that officials of PAGCor will come here, you have to be ready with all of this information.
Anyway, Representative Zarate, the chair would like to ask PAGCor to be ready with the information and data being requested by Representative Zarate before we go into plenary. Can you do that? can you please submit to the Committee on Appropriations? Please, I will instruct, please submit to the Committee on Appropriations the information and data being requested by Representative Zarate, and I hope that in the next meeting, you will be ready with that. So, PAGCor, COMSEC, please take note.
Continue, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
So in
Congressman
relation,
Zarate.
again, still in relation, thank you, Mr. Chair, still in relation to the POGO operation, no, maliban doon sa uncollected taxes, ito na lang, will the PAGCor, Mr. Chair, inform us ilan na lang nag-ooperate na mga POGO operators dito out of the, I think, 50 plus, no, na pinayagan ninyo. And you were saying in previous hearings na dahil hindi nagbabayad ng buwis itong mga ito ay ipapasara. No? So, as we speak now, how many of these operators are still operating? And what happened to the others, Mr. Chair?
PAGCor, please respond to the query.
Again, Your Honor, if I may refer it to our participants in Zoom, may I call in Attorney June Sanyosa?
Good evening, Your Honors. Attorney June Sonyosa. I'm the current Corporate Secretary of PAGCor. I would like first to address the first question with respect to the taxes that were allegedly unpaid.
Yes, you may proceed, Vice President Juanito Sanyosa Jr.
Good evening, Your Honors. In response to the question po of Your Honor, to the first question on the alleged tax payments, before the resumption of operations, we issued a memorandum together with the BIR that they can only operate or they can only resume operations as soon as they are able to secure a certificate from the BIR that they have no pending taxes or they have no liabilities. So when we gave them the permission to resume, they submitted a certification from the BIR. So with respect to the tax payments, I think it's between the BIR and the POGO operators. Now, with respect to the those who have resumed already, only 30, as of now, only around 30 operators have resumed operations who were able to secure BIR clearances or certifications that we allowed to operate po. Thank you, Your Honor.
Very much, Attorney Sanyosa. Representative Zarate.
Thank you, Chair. No? I certainly agree, no, na pag-usapin ng taxes, BIR yan. But considering that PAGCor is the regulator, nasa poder niyo pa rin yan. No? Mapaniguro na itong mga buhis na ito ay nababayaran nila. No? Now, on to my other question, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
Since the operations of these POGOs, Mr. Chair, no, ang daming mga related antisocial activities, no, na nangyari in relation to this. No. So gusto ko lang maghingi ng report, no, if they cannot yet give it to us this evening, yung mga related cases, no, na reportedly in relation dito sa operation ng POGO. For example, the PNP reported 9 cases, no, involving kidnapping of Chinese nationals. Dahil related to dito sa POGO operation. Second, I recall that the Honorable Castelo also filed a resolution here in Congress on the alleged prostitution ring, no, involving those who are working with the POGOs. No? And there is also that report, Mr. Chair, on the alleged fake passports being used by those who are working with these POGOs, no? And ito, lumabas ito sa Senate, yung pastillas controversy, yung bribery modus, no? And there's also this report on, according to the Bureau of Customs, on money laundering, no, involving 447 million that entered into the country between September of 2019 to February of 2020. And finally, itong mga usapin ng mga operations ng mga illegal medical facilities, no? Especially dito sa usapin ng pandemya ng COVID. No? We are asking this from you, again, because you are the principal regulator when it comes to POGO. No? So we need this report from you, Mr. Chair. And finally, in one of the hearings, I think it's Assistant Vice President Jose Tria who mentioned that he is still the head of the licensing, no? Jose Tria. He said that as a gaming regulator, they are open to calls to shut down these businesses in the country, no? Dahil maraming, including our minority leader Benny Abante, is in fact calling for the closure of the POGO operations in our country. So my question, last question, Mr. Chair, no?
Yes, please.
What will it take?
Last question.
What will it take PAGCor, no, to shut down the operation of these POGOs, Mr. Chair?
Okay. PAGCor. PAGCor, who will respond to the query of Congressman Sarate.
Yes, Your Honor, Congressman Sarate. Again, if I may call a friend from the Zoom participants who may be able to answer the question of Honorable Sarate, please unmute and speak up, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Your Honors. Again, I'm Attorney Juanito Sanyosa, Corporate Secretary of PAGCor. We understand all the issues or concerns with respect to the POGO operations. That is why we have taken steps, and we have coordinated with the PNP group, PNP and cybercrime, for example. PNP with respect to the anti-kidnapping. We have been in continuous coordination with them. We also have entered into a memorandum of agreement with several government agencies such as number 1 PNP, NBI, Bureau of Immigration, DOJ, especially to address these issues and concerns with respect to the, as you call, the social issues concerning the POGO operations. With respect on when to close it down, to be honest, I cannot answer that question. Or maybe Attorney Tria may be in the better position to answer that question, because at the end of the day, it's a measure of whether or not the benefits of PAGCor versus the as you call, the social ills that may be present, notwithstanding all the efforts that we have been trying to do and coordinating with all the government agencies to address these concerns. On our part, we are trying to address all these concerns and making sure that the PAGCor operations have more benefits than that, but the other negative consequences outweigh the benefits, for Your Honors. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, the chair would like to recognize
The Chair.
Representative
Mr. Chair.
VG Lacson.
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Lacson, please proceed now.
Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang malaman kung anong mga project o mga assistance ang nabigay ng PAGCor sa ating to the Filipino people amid this COVID pandemic times.
PAGCor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, aside from the funds that we have remitted to the National Treasury and the Office of the President, PAGCor has also endeavored on relief operations. We have spent more than 200 million in purchasing relief goods, which have been distributed to the different LGUs, different organizations. And aside from the contributions of PAGCor, the things that we have bought, the different licensees, the different casinos, POGOs, and the other licensees of PAGCor has also contributed in providing not only relief goods but also PPEs, face masks, and other related to health. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Congressman Lacson, for your next question.
I'd just like to make a manifestation in appreciation sa mga ginagawa ng PAGCor, sa mga natutulong nila for continuing to help the Filipino people in times of their needs, especially in these pandemic times. And congratulate or thank their chairwoman, Andrea Domingo, and the rest of the staff and officers of PAGCor. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Representative VG Lacson. Next, the chair would like to recognize from the minority, Representative Ferdy Gaite.
Mr. Chair, I will yield my time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Next.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
The chair would like to recognize the minority leader.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, can I interpolate now?
Yes, please proceed, minority leader. Pwede na po.
Okay, maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. Unang-una, I would like to address this to PCSO. I just would like to find out what they did to resolve the alleged corruption at the PCSO.
PCSO, there's a query from the minority leader on the, how did you address the issue of corruption?
Mr. Chair, good evening. I am the General Manager, Royina Marcel Garma.
GM Garma, please reply to the query of the minority leader, Benny Abante.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Last year, when the President directed NBI to conduct an investigation because of the allegation that there is corruption in PCSO, we actually provided NBI all the necessary documents that they required us to submit. So, isa pa lang po ang ng games ng PCSO, which is the utilization of the printing cost, which is 2%. So I was told by the NBI, that they already submitted their findings to the ombudsman, and I think there were several board of directors and assistant general managers that were actually recommended for investigation, Mr. Chair. With regards to other issues,
filed the case to the ombudsman. Ibig sabihin niyan, there's a prima facie evidence that there is corruption inside the PCSO.
GM Garma.
Mr. Chair, wala pa po kami natatanggap na document from NBI, but I was just informed that they already submitted the result of the investigation before the ombudsman. As of this date, wala pa po kami natatanggap na notice from the ombudsman or even the AGMs or the board has not received subpoena or any notice pa po with result sa investigation po ng NBI.
Wala pa po kayo natatanggap, Mr. Chair, ng mga anumang documents detailing the corruption from the NBI.
A formal report, wala pa po, Mr. Chair, but I was informed by NBI that they already submitted the report sa Ombudsman. Yun lang po ang update namin as far as yung investigation of NBI on the alleged corruption is concerned, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I'd like now to go to PAGCor, no?
Yes, please continue, Majority Leader. Please continue.
In the PAGCor website, a primer entitled The Truth About POGO. A primer. One of the questions stated there is what is not POGO? And one of the answer is POGO is not prostitution. But if you will see the body of that answer, it did not categorically say that POGO was not a source of prostitution, but merely stated that Senate hearing did not entirely address prostitution in the Philippines. So I would like to ask PAGCor, so are you saying that the Senate as an institution lied about POGO not being a source of prostitution?
PAGCor, you may respond now.
Mr. Chairman, may I call on our friends from our Zoom group who may be able to answer that.
From PAGCor? Who would be the one to answer that? The chair would like to call again. Attorney Sanyosa. Yan pa ba?
Yes po, Your Honor. Good evening po.
Yes.
Your Honor, with respect to your question on the primer po, we are not, of course, we respect the Senate and we do not tell them that there's a lie involved, but we just want to clarify or to give our some basic facts on what what POGO is and what POGO is not. When we said POGO is not prostitution, it's just saying that our gaming, our POGO is really with respect to our gaming regulations, and that with respect to being a source of prostitution, it's hindi po talaga siya for us. It's not really what we intend to do. It may
Well,
be.
Mr. Chair, I would like to interject, no, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Minority Leader.
If you would like to say that POGO is not prostitution, I think you should change the explanation on that, because people actually know that POGO is not prostitution. But the Senate has said, not even allegedly, but they were sure that the influx of Chinese workers were using prostitutes. Ibig sabihin, POGO is a gaming institution that can promote prostitution, but it is not prostitution. So kinakailangan siguro baguhin nyo yung website ninyo on explaining that POGO is not prostitution, because actually it is not. There is no need to say that, Mr. Chair. Am I right, Attorney?
Yes, Your Honor. We take into consideration po your position po, and we will clarify on that.
Oo. Eh, ang nangyayari niyan, ginagawa niyong tanga mga tao. Ginawa niyong tanga yung mga senador. Gagawin niyo kami mga tanga pagkasabihin niyo, POGO is not prostitution. Bakit? Binanggit ba ng mga senador that POGO is prostitution? It is not. But the fact is this, you mentioned the Senate hearings in your website. Mr. Chair, I have another question here, no? In the same primer, PAGCor also said that POGO is not criminality. Of course, we know that POGO is not criminality. The fact that PAGCor is the one that is promoting POGO and PAGCor is the one that handling POGO regulations, it is legal. Oh, so POGO is not criminality. Now, this is despite the fact that the following has been proven by the following government agencies. Number one, in the Senate hearings conducted, POGO was linked to a wide range of crimes from forged-based passport, money laundering, sex trafficking, 67 gambling-related kidnappings and counting since 2017, according to PNP Anti-Kidnapping Group. Congressman Joel Salceda claimed that at least 100 POGOs are operating illegally in the country since October of 2019. POGO has co-opted the Bureau of Immigration under the VUA, the Visa Upon Arrival Scheme, violation of numerous tax laws. NBI Anti-Organized and Transnational Crime Division Chief Joel Tobera has conducted raid and rescue operations for trafficked women in Okada, Manila, and Midas Hotel near the entertainment city for suspected prostitution activities involving offshore gaming workers. Until now, there are reported crimes linked to POGO operations. So, are you saying that all these government institutions faked all these operations and lied about POGO not being a source of criminality, Mr. Chairman?
PAGCor. Attorney Sanyosa.
Yes, Your Honor. Good evening. We respect your position, for Your Honor.
No, it's not, Mr. Chair. It's not respecting my position. It is just giving you the facts. While you said that POGO is not criminality, here are the facts given by other government agencies. So I am asking if you believe that these are faked operations, that these government agencies lied. I'm not asking you to accept our position on this, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Your Honor. We do not believe that these are fake or fake facts, Your Honor.
You naman pala, Mr. Chair, you're a lawyer. You do not believe that all of these government agencies did not yield fake operations or they lied. Therefore, putting up a primer on the truth about POGO, saying POGO is not criminality, is vague. It is not actually the right statement that you ought to speak of.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, may I make a manifestation in behalf of PAGCor?
Yes, please proceed. And I would like to remind our minority leader that he can ask one more question after the manifestation made by PAGCor. Please proceed.
Yes, sir. VP James Bondoc po of PAGCor from the Community Relations.
Please proceed, VP Bondoc. PAGCor, please.
May I just to expound on what happened with regard to our primer, no? This was actually not in response particularly to the Senate hearings, but its effects on media subsequently, no? Because our problem, if it is appreciated by the body, no, the problem was that the media after that directly correlated, for example, the illegal POGOs, which we call no-goes, for example, no, the non-registered ones, they were being lumped together with the official POGOs, which were in fact being regulated. Now, with regard to the other issues, parang ganun din po, no, parang sinubukan lang po namin through the primer na paghiwalayin po yung mga illegal doon po sa attempts namin at legalizing or actually fixing the process on our backyard. Ano po? So it was, with all due respect, wala po siyang offense meant or parinig doon sa Senado, Your Honor.
Well, that's why, Mr. Chair, yung sinasabi mo, Mr. Patrick Bondo,
Bondo po, sir.
Pero yung bang sinasabi natin that the earnings of POGO, the benefits of POGO outweighs all. Yan ang statement kanina ni attorney. Outweighs all of the negative things, no? But the thing is, you know for a fact that when you brought in POGO in the country, you are also bringing in a lot of illegal things. Yun ang sinasabi ko. I mean, if you did not bring in POGO in the country, we're not going to have any problem on illegal POGOs in the country. Ibig sabihin, when you brought in POGO in the country, you also brought in corruption, you also brought in the problems with immigration, you also brought in prostitution, you also brought all of these things, you see? Therefore, your primer is not proper. Oh, now, I have another question on this, Mr. Chair, if I may be allowed.
Oh, would that be the last minority leader?
Just last two questions, if I may be allowed, I beg for your indulgence, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please proceed. The last two questions from the minority leader.
In the same primer, PAGCor said that POGO is not an attractive venue for laundering money. I'm just using your words and I'm just answering it, no, Mr. Chair. I'm just using your words. Oh, and yet the AMLAC, AMLC, the primary agency, money laundering activities flagged some 14 billion peso in suspicious transactions within a 2-year period in connection with offshore gaming operations. So are you saying that AMLAC is also lying about POGO not being an attractive venue of money laundering activities?
Yes.
Your Honor, I remember the proceedings for this matter. It was a few months back, so my memory might fail me. But from what I remember, I think the AMLA, under the definition of terms nung suspicious po, some of transactions, in fact, no, fell under the definition of the suspicious transactions. However, after the process of determining kung totoong may illegal na nangyari. Yes, sir.
If I may interrupt, please do not play with words. Okay? Now, if there's smoke, there's fire. If there are suspicions, there are realities on this, Mr. Chair. Now, for example, I was told that the POGO operation in Cavite, Mr. Chair, is that a legal POGO operation?
PAGCor, VP Patrick.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, from what I know, that we have a legal operation in Cavite, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, Mr. Chair, my time is up, but I'd like a second round of these questions, if I may be allowed.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Thank you very much.
Next, on our list, the Chair would like to recognize Representative Onyx Crisologo. Nana.
Eric Martinez.
Next, Representative Eric Martinez.
Boy Suntay. Bong Suntay.
Representative Bong Suntay.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm here. I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Eric Martinez.
Congressman Martinez.
Yes, please proceed. You have 3 minutes, Congressman Martinez.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and to the members of the Appropriations Committee. The question that I would like to raise is directed to PAGCor, and I just would like to lay down the predicate before. I just have one question. It is more of an appeal to PAGCor. We all know that the Olympics, the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, was postponed for a year, and it will be held because of this COVID pandemic. But the Philippine team, the athletes that we have, are busy preparing for the qualifications and training for this event. Just to give everyone a backgrounder about the Olympics. The modern day Olympics, established in 1896, we have been a participant of the Olympics since early 1930s, wherein we won bronze medals, and then in the 1960s we won silver medal courtesy of our boxers, the Villanuevas, then come Leopoldo Cervantes, then Onyok Velasco, and of course Heidelin Diaz, the most recent in the 2016 Rio Olympics. The question, the appeal that I would like to ask from PAGCor is, we all know the funding requirement of PSC was significantly cut because of all resources should be channeled initially for the fight against COVID. But then I would like to appeal to PAGCor because we already have 4 qualifying athletes for the Tokyo Olympics. Carlos Yulo, EJ Obiena, and the 2 boxers. And hopefully Heidelin Diaz will be another qualifier. And more than 80 more are vying for those qualifications. It is very important now. This is now the critical time that we push and channel all our resources for the training. 1 year to go. And PSC, the last committee hearing that we had, is appealing all of us for funding for the training of these Olympians, the 4 Olympians and the next possible qualifiers. We have not won an Olympic gold, and this is the best chance that we have. You know why? EJ Obiena, the pole vaulter, is a potential bronze medalist, and who knows, could upset the world champion. Carlos Yulo is the world champion in floor exercise. He won in Germany, and the same competition that he's going to face in the Olympics are the same athletes. Heidelin Diaz, the silver medalist the last Rio Olympics, will have a better chance now in Tokyo Olympics. And the 2 boxers, we all know by tradition, boxing is one of our strengths in Olympic gaming. So could I ask the commitment or what the piece of PAGCor with regards to the support for PSC, only for these athletes, for these Olympics, so we could nail down that Olympic gold. Not in our lifetime. For the information of everyone, we have not won an Olympic gold in our lifetime, and this is our best chance. Mr. Chair, address to PAGCor.
Thank you very much, Congressman Eric Martinez, for your manifestation of and asking for commitment from PAGCor to support those athletes, potential medal winners in the Olympics and the other games. PAGCor, your commitment. Then after that, after PAGCor answers, the chair will recognize next Representative Bonito Singson. PAGCor, your commitment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. PAGCor has been very supportive of the sports program of the government. In fact, in last year alone, aside from what we have remitted regularly to the Philippine Sports Commission, we have donated 642 million financial grant to the Philippine Sports Commission. PAGCor has always been very supportive of all the programs, sports programs. Unfortunately, the remittances of PAGCor to the Sports Commission is dependent on the income of PAGCor from its operations. And PAGCor has stopped operations starting March, the second half of March. That's why PAGCor has not earned, whether from its own operations or from its licensees. We have only started, we only resumed operations and start earning this after the GCQ was made in Metro Manila, and also, but we are only operating at a 30% capacity. So, but we always make our commitment for the sports development programs of the government.
I think, sir, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
the guy,
Congressman Martinez.
Is missing the point. What I'm trying to drive out is, Olympics po ito. Once every 4 years, hindi pa tayo nananalo ng Olympic gold. Ang sinasabi ko lang, pwede bang pigain natin ng konti para lang doon sa mga qualifiers natin? Ponduhan na natin yung mga qualifiers. Hindi ko naman sinasabing yung kabuuan, itodo nyo ulit the same way nung hindi pa nagkaka-COVID yung ganong kalaking pondo. What I'm trying to point out here, baka naman pwedeng pigain ng PAGCor yung pondo na ngayon nila para doon sa mga qualifier. 4 na yung qualifier natin. It could be 5 and mas marami pa. Crucial kasi ngayon na pag hindi na naman tayo nanalo ng Olympic gold, sasabihin natin, kasi hindi pa tayo nagtulong-tulong, hindi pa natin piniga eh. So, yun yung punto ko, PAGCor. Pwede bang mag-usap kayo ng PSC together with our Committee on Youth and Sports na ako ang chairman para lang mapiga natin for this Olympics alone, 1 year from now. From this, kasi sabi ng PSC, ang pondo nila will be good up to December. Then for next year, talagang gapang na to. And yun yung crucial phase ng training ng ating mga athletes. Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Representative C. Alvarado.
Mr. Chair, magkano po ba yung pinag-uusapan natin na pwede po ba maklarify kung magkano yung pinag-uusapan na pondo na kailangan ng 4 natin na atleta para magkaroon tayo ng pagkakataon na manalo ng ginto sa Olympics, Mr. Chair?
Okay. Mr. Chair, to answer Congressman Alvarado's query, nung nakaraang hearing ng Youth and Sports, tinanong namin ng PSC, are we good for the preparation of the Olympics nitong 4 natin? So the Chairman Ramirez, made the guarantee sa committee, Congressman, okay tayo hanggang December. So, pero pagpasok na ng January, yun na yung gapang nila dahil nga significantly reduce yung budget nila. So I don't have the exact figures now, nandun lang yung notes ko. But I think PAGCor should sit down seriously with PSC, and our committee is more than willing to help also for this Olympics alone. Let's do it for the Olympians and for our Filipino athletes.
Mr. Chair, kaya ko lang po natanong kung magkano yung pinag-uusapang budget. Dahil kung hindi naman ganong kalaki yung pinag-uusapang budget, Mr. Chair, at kung magiging humble naman yung accommodations ng ating atleta, basta sila ay nakapag-training at may pagkakataon talaga na manalo ng ginto. Kasi ilang taon na po tayong Pilipino, yung iba po sa inyo mas nauna kaysa sa akin, pero wala pa tayong natamasa na ginto sa Olympics. Kaya ako po'y sumasang-ayon kay Chairman Eric Martinez ng Youth and Sports, chairman po natin dito sa House of the People, na baka ito na po yung pagkakataon. Tsaka Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang pansinin na yung chairman natin ng Youth and Sports, talagang yung ayos niya ng buhok ngayong araw na to, pang youth talaga, kasi parang pang kabataan talaga. Parang usong-uso ang dating ng ating minamahal na chairman. At sinusuportahan po ng kinatawang ito yung pahayag ni Chairman Eric Martinez, Mr. Chair.
Yes. Don't worry, Congressman Martinez. I think everyone from PAGCor has heard of your appeal. And together with you, we support considering that with those 4 qualifiers for the Olympics, we might one day see that elusive gold medal for
We
the
will
Philippines.
Definitely, Mr. Chair, I am very confident about this. In our lifetime, we're gonna win that Olympic medal. We just want to hear now from PAGCor, having said all those things. And thank you, Congressman Alvarado, for the compliment about my hair.
Okay, thank you. So,
Mr.
PAGCor?
Chairman. Mr.
Then
Chairman.
after PAGCor, the chair would recognize next Representative Bonito Singson.
Mr. Chair? Sir, good evening.
Yes, Vice President Patrick Bondok.
Bondok po. And to your honor, Congressman Eric, although I cannot speak, of course, in behalf of the entire PAGCor, there has definitely been set a precedent recently doon sa SEA Games where PAGCor set a considerable amount of money for the training also of the athletes through fiscal.
Yes,
So
we appreciate that so much.
Sir, and I really do look forward to. I hope I can speak in behalf of PAGCor. I really look forward to sitting in your committee because we share your dream of finally obtaining that gold for the country. Sir, just personal lang. I hope you would allow my personal statement that I think something is possible, and I will definitely propose it to the board, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, VP Bondok. I hope PAGCor will be the one. Not let me be the one.
Okay,
PAGCor will be the one. Tama? Okay, thank you very much, Kong Eric. Next, Representative Bonito Singson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening to everyone. I'd like to give my one question each to the 2 agencies that are currently being, whose budgets are currently being reviewed. To PAGCor, and I don't expect this to be immediately answered. I'll just ask the question, Mr. Chair, so that they can, whether they will answer for 1 hour or 3 minutes, it doesn't matter. It's up to the chair already to regulate that. To PAGCor, there was a proposal in the past from the chair of PAGCor to create an
Can you repeat that again, Congressman Singson?
Yeah. There was a proposal in the past by the PAGCor, by the chairman of PAGCor, to create an exclusive community wherein the POGOs can operate, live, and conduct whatever activities they may be conducting to shield, I think, our Filipino society in general, considering that most of the POGO operators are of different nationalities. So my question is, was this ever implemented, the exclusive community for POGOs, so that they will not be to reduce, I guess, the criminality, as mentioned earlier in the discussion with our beloved minority leader. That's my question to PAGCor. To PCSO, I have a copy of the budget, 2020 budget that was that you had submitted, and my number one question is, what games have PCSO resumed already? Considering that, like PAGCor, PCSO is also a revenue-generating agency from which a lot of our charitable funds
that are being forced through different agencies, primarily to the Office of the President, is sourced. So, may I know from the PCSO what amongst all the games that PCSO is conducting have resumed, and are they already generating much needed revenues to fight COVID? Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you.
First, the chair would like to ask PAGCor to reply first regarding the query on exclusive communities for POGOs. PAGCor.
May I call June Senyosa or Attorney Tria, who may be able to give light to that concern? Thank you. They're on Zoom.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. The proposal on the POGO hubs, which the chairman has proposed earlier to be constructed to cater exclusively to our POGO operators. So far po, may dalawa tayong existing yan. There is one in Clark and one in Cavite. The one in Cavite is located at the old Island Cove, while the one in Clark is located inside the Clark Economic Zone. There were two other proponents pero hindi po sila nag-push through because inabot na rin ng COVID-19 na pandemic. But the two, yung dalawa pong nauna, are undergoing construction. So we hope that they can continue with the construction so that we can already start, once natapos sila partially of the projects, we can already start relocating some of the operators and service providers which have been granted by the BIR their clearances para ilipat na po yung operation nila sa loob ng POGO hubs.
Next, with regards to PCSO.
Mr. Chair, may I just one follow-up question on the answer of the clarification lang.
To PAGCor, Congressman Singson.
Yes, Mr. Chair. To PAGCor.
Yes, follow-up question.
Yes.
To PAGCor.
So,
please proceed.
With the setting up, Mr. Chair, of these exclusive gaming communities dedicated or concentrated by to the POGOs, I suppose this will address our general concerns about criminality being a breeding ground for criminality, which might permeate to our general society or to our society in general. We want to see this to fruition so that we can concentrate on monitoring on the revenue generating aspect of these POGO operations, especially since they will be confined to these communities, I suppose. And in relation to the earlier concern of our dear minority leader, I think this should be a very good development, and PAGCor should update us from time to time. Mr. Chair, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Congressman Singson. Next, PCSO. GM Garma.
Yeah,
General
good evening
Manager.
again, Mr. Yes, sir. Good evening again, Mr. Chair. With regards to the question, dun po sa games, Mr. Chair, tatlong games po yung nag-resume since July 20. Instant sweepstakes po. And then, July 28, Kino resumed. And August 7 po, Lotto. Nag-resume yung operations namin. Bali po, tatlong laro po lahat ang nag-ooperate for now. The Lotto, including the digit games, Kino, and instant sweepstakes, Mr. Chair. With regards to STL, they can resume operation anytime provided that they will pay the 100 guaranteed monthly retail receipts. However, most of the STL players cannot actually afford the 100% remittance. So we are waiting for the approval from the Office of the President, yung IRR po authorizing po the board to give a parang ang tawag, adjustment in case po na may mga pandemic such as this po, kasi it really affects yung sales. So yun po yung hinihintay naming approval from the OP. But STL can resume provided they will give to PCSO what is due to PCSO 100% from the guaranteed monthly retail receipt that nasa kontrata po yun.
Okay, thank you very much, GM Garma. Next, the chair would like to recognize from the majority, Representative Bong Suntay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My first question would be to the PAGCor. PCSO. May I know what is the two largest revenue generator of PCSO? Which games? Yeah, Attorney Paquera, Lotto and
STL.
Yeah, Lotto and STL. Can I know the revenues na pumasok from 2017 to 2019 for each game?
PCSO.
Okay, for 2017 po, the Lotto generated 31.8 billion, while for the STL is 15.74 billion.
For 2018?
For 2018, Lotto generated 31.9 billion, while the STL generated 26.1 billion.
For 2019?
For 2019, the Lotto generated 21.3 billion, while the STL generated 19.87 billion.
Okay. So for 2019, both the collections for for Lotto and STL went down. In fact, the President's call for the investigation of PCSO stemmed from the fact, from the infighting of some of the board members doon sa PCSO dahil nagtuturuan sila kung bakit bumaba yung collection, particularly sa STL. Is this correct or not?
PCSO?
Because I remember last year that was it was due to the statement made by the President, and it stemmed from the dwindling collection ng STL.
GM Garma?
Mr. Chair, actually there are several factors kung bakit po bumaba ang collection. Perhaps isa din po dito yung concern na sinabi nyo kanina, at isa din kinonsider namin, perhaps yung effect po ng documentary stamp tax din po. Because nung na-impose yung 20% na DST, we have to increase the price of the tickets that we are selling.
No, we're talking about, I'm talking about STL. I remember yung STL, hindi pa, yung Lotto tickets meron doc stamps. Yung STL, walang doc stamps yan. In fact, kaya bumaba yung collection yan because of the practice dati o yung mga incidents na ginagawa dahil dyan pagka hindi nakapagbayad dapat ng 2 buwan na monthly retail receipt, dapat sinususpend yung operation ng STL operators. Pero ang nangyari, minsan kinukondone.
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
yes, GM Garma.
Yes, sir. Sa STL po, sir, meron din pong documentary stamp tax po. That's 20%. Pareho din lang po sa Lotto, Mr. Chair.
Pero yung kasi yung betting sa Lotto sa STL hindi kagaya ng betting sa Lotto na may ticket kang binabayaran. But the thing is, well, sadly kasi yung sinabi kanina ni GM Garma, sadly, then the issue that the NBI investigated was yung accounting docketing ng 1.5% doon sa printing ng papelitos ng STL. Dahil ang sinabi ng NBI doon, dapat raw nilagay sa charity fund yun at hindi sa operating fund. Is that correct? I think that was the issue. Sinong, ayan ba si Attorney Patsyag o si Attorney Insyong? They should be familiar with this.
Yes.
Meron,
GM.
Mr. Chair, meron kasing COA findings po yan with regards sa printing cost na 2%. It says there that the agency should be the one to utilize the 2% printing cost. Hindi dapat yan binibigay dun sa mga agents, kundi si PCSO dapat ang nagmamanage ng 2% printing cost. So, but when I resume, ang naabutan ko po is ang 1.5% nasa agent po yun.
Okay, the reason why the reason why
Congressman Suntay, you have to wrap up.
Oh yes, to wrap up.
One last.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The reason why I'm asking is because I want to know if the practice of continuing or condoning yung mga non-remittance or short remittance ng monthly retail receipt ng STL is still being done ng sa PCSO. And in fact, the second reason that the next thing I want to know, yung Lotto operations was awarded when? Yung initial contract nito. It was when? 2019? 1995, which was supposed to be for how long? For 8 years. So, dapat matapos yan noong 2003. 2020 na ngayon. May I know if you are still using the same contract for still the same existing Lotto operators? Because if you are, then you have extended it longer than yung actual contract niyan. And I want to know why you still continue doing it.
Okay, that would be the last point from
Mr. Chair,
Bong Suntay, and
Mr.
I would
Chair,
like to request
Mr. Chair,
PCSO to...
I would like to give some of my minutes to Congressman
Okay.
Suntay.
Thank you very much.
GM Garma.
Mr. Chair, with regards to the first issue, the under remittance of our agents, we don't there's no condonation. In fact, we have already filed collection cases against these AACs. With regards to those AACs that has shortfall prior to my resumption, we were able to collect all of the what is due for PCSO, including those that were waived by the previous board, ay na-restore po yung original contract. So we were able to collect from them. Very few AACs na lang po ang hindi po nagbigay, hindi po nag-remit, but we did not allow them to resume operation. So for now po, meron pong collection cases na final po ang PCSO against these AACs. Sa ngayon po,
Mr. Chair, through you, may I know how many
Congressman
AACs?
Suntay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. May I know how many AACs are operating?
There are actually 61
At ilan yung pinahinto?
AACs operating nationwide, Mr. Chair.
And how many AACs were made to stop? Can you submit to us an official listing of this? So we will see kung talagang pinahinto nyo for yung mga hindi nakapagbayad. And we also want to see kung magkano yung binayad nila. Now, on the question on the Lotto operations, may I have the answer? Because kaya ko tinatanong yung sa Lotto naman, if you extended it and has not done anything about it, dahil sa Lotto naman, dun sa initial contract na yan, siyempre, that was for 8 years. Pero since na-extend ng sobrang tagal yan and they were not buying new computers, new whatever, new software, then dapat PCSO renegotiated the terms. But are you still using the same terms, or have you renegotiated the terms to make it more advantageous naman on the part of the PCSO? Kasi kung hindi, luging-lugi naman yung PCSO dyan.
And before PCSO will answer the query of Congressman Suntay, I would like to yield back the chair to the chairman of the Committee on Appropriation, Chairman Eric Yap.
Please continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Yung answer na lang siguro ni GM Garma.
GM Garma, can you please answer Congressman Suntay?
Yes.
Well, actually, Mr. Chair, it is true na nag-expire na po yung contract namin with two companies, PGMC and POSC, dun sa Lotto. Now, nung po nag-expire po yan, Mr. Chair, at PCSO is ready to bid it out, nagkaroon po nag-file po ng TRO ang PGMC against PCSO. And this was resolved only early 2019, I think, last year. So, nung na-lift po yun at nanalo po yung PCSO doon sa case, August of 2019 o early pa po, like July o June, nagkaroon po ng bidding ang lottery system ng PCSO 2019. Unfortunately po, nagkaroon po ng failure of bidding kasi po yung isang company supposed to be nanalo po ng bidding ay nagkaroon po ng mga requirements na hindi po siya pumasa. So, dapat po ngayong taon, magkakaroon na naman po kami ng bidding. Ang nangyari po, inabutan po kami nitong pandemic. So, hindi po namin natuloy ang bidding. Kaya by next year, January, sa timeline na ginawa po namin, or later this year po, we will be able to start the bidding by posting the terms of reference so we could proceed po. And hopefully by next year, ma-award na po namin kung sino pong company ang mananalo para po dun sa system po ng Lotto.
So, Mr. Chair,
We do not actually want na magkaroon po ng delay. In fact, even the board po is actually we are doing our best na ma-expedite po ito kasi we know it's an issue talaga kasi long overdue na po yung dalawang company. And it is true po yung observation ninyo na yung mga makina nila luma na, etc. We want to actually improve yung mga makina, but that will entail a new contract kasi magkakaroon ng new terms. So, para kami nag-renew and we are just working on a contract na puro extended lang. In-extend lang namin as is where is po kung ano yung original contract.
Now, Mr. Chair, through you, hindi ba masyado ng lugi yung PCSO niyan? From your own statement, ine-extend nyo as is where is yung contract. The contract, the extension of the contract has been longer than the original term of the contract. In fact, you have no valid contract to speak of. So, since you have no valid contract to speak of, you either do two things. You either stop the Lotto operations because there is no valid contract, or you negotiate for terms which are better for the PCSO, which you have never done.
GM Garma, can you please answer?
Yes, it is true, Mr. Chair. But you see, if we will actually kung we will terminate because wala ng contract, nag-expire na tama, pwede po namin i-stop for now. But we have almost 9,000 agents working na meron pong mga terminals. Kung i-stop po namin yung babalik kami sa manual or other forms of betting system. Second po, we are also kasama po sa contract ng list yung mga draw balls and draw machines. So pag i-stop din namin yun, wala na kaming bola at saka mga makina na gagamitin kasi kasama po yun sa original contract nitong dalawang company, Mr. Chair. Kaya nga, itong terms of reference na ginawa po namin for bidding next year, ina-unbundle na po namin yung draw machines and the terminal so that we will not be dependent on the same company at ganitong sitwasyon ay mauulit po sa PCSO.
Mr. Chairman, last question.
So yun po yung situation namin for now, Mr. Chair. And we are now reviewing the Lotto IRR also to consider other forms of betting system. Hindi lang kami nakadepend sa isang fixed terminal at the traditional method na pumupunta doon, but we are now exploring the possibility of using mga mobile apps and other system ng betting so that meron po kaming alternate na pwedeng gamitin in case po na yung ganitong sitwasyon po ay mangyari o maulit pa po.
Last question, Mr. Chair.
Congressman Santay, meron akong suggestion.
Yes,
Kung
Mr. Chair.
sa tingin niya may anomalya dyan, baka gusto mong i-file kay chairman ng Blue Ribbon.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Pero go ahead for your last
Mr.
question
Chair.
para
Okay, kaya yung Mr. Chairman, through you, yung sagot kasi ni GM Garma that ayaw nila i-stop yung Lotto dahil kawawa naman yung 9,000 na betting agents. This is the reason why I asked kanina kung hinindulog na rin nila yung condonation dati nung na ginagawa sa STL na hindi nakakapagbayad ng monthly retail receipts. Because that was also exactly the same thing, the same reason given dati na pagka tinigil natin, pinahinto natin yung mga hindi nakakapagbayad na STL operators, mas lalong walang kikitain raw yung PAGCor at saka hindi na raw mawawalan ng chance na mangolekta. So it's still the same reason. In fact, ang niraise ko dati, kung 8 buwan nang hindi nagbabayad yung STL operator at hinahayaan nyo pa rin mag-operate, what makes you think makakakolekta kayo pa?
GM Garma, can you please answer Congressman Suntay?
Mr. Chair, I just would like to reiterate that doon po sa STL concern po, wala po kami condonation doon. In fact, lahat po ng mga na-waive noon yung kanilang mga yung what is due to PCSO during the time
GM,
board
hindi
resolutions.
condonation, so it's the wrong word. Ang ibig ko sabihin, yung ina-allow mag-operate kahit hindi nakapagbayad ng monthly retail receipts.
Actually, none, Mr. Chair. Lahat po ng STL na nag-operate po ay nagbayad po lahat yan 100% prior to their resumption, Mr. Chair. Ang mga hindi po nakabayad, hindi po naka-resume ng operation, even those po na may mga concerns sa kanilang AAC na may mga cases, hindi rin po namin pinaalaw, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, can we ask for a formal submission of those documents, yung payments ng mga AACs that they made? Kung magkano, and yung contract, yung bagong contract sa Lotto nila.
Okay, Comsec, paki-secure yung documents from PCSO dun sa mga contracts.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question regarding the current issue?
Sandali lang po
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Suntay. May I recognize Congresswoman Franz Castro?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, tanong ko lang po sa PCSO, dahil alam po natin yung PCSO ay isa sa mga pinagkukuhanan ng medical and financial assistance ng ating mga mamamayan. So, tumatanggap pa rin po ba ng application sa kanya-kanyang opisina itong PCSO para sa medical and financial assistance, Mr. Chair?
PCSO, who can answer?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Kahit po
Yes,
nung nagkaroon ng kahit GCQ, ECQ po yung area, open po yung PCSO. Sa Metro Manila po, online na po yung application. Sa lahat po ng probinsya, 62 branches namin open po. During the time na even ECQ, tumatanggap po kami ng humihingi po na financial assistance, especially po sa medical na aspeto. In fact, we are releasing more or less 7 to 8 million a day para po sa lahat ng nangangailangan po ng financial assistance para sa medical ano po nila.
Okay. Salamat po. Mr. Chair, ayon po sa RA 11463 o yung Malasakit Centers Act. So ito po yung isa sa mga niratsada nating batas no sa Kongreso. Nakalagay po dito na yung kasi kung ganito po na nakalagay po kasi na para magkaroon ng isang one-stop shop daw itong Malasakit Center. Pero ang PCSO po, ang DOH, ang DSWD, at ang PhilHealth, dapat ay magkaroon ng pondo para sa mga malasakit centers. Pero pansin ko po, Mr. Chair, wala pong pondo para sa 2021. So ang ibig sabihin nun, baliwala itong mga malasakit centers na to at magiging pupunta na naman sa iba't ibang opisina ang ating mga mamayan para sa financial assistance. Tama po ba ako doon sa aking impression or observation sa budget?
GM Garma, can you answer Congresswoman Franz Castro?
Okay. Mr. Chair, sa 2021 po, even sa 2020, meron po kami nilaan for malasakit centers. Only that po, na nasa transition period po kami in establishing our personnel na mailagay po namin sa mga malasakit centers na na-establish. So, dun po sa malasakit, dun sa law, establishing malasakit centers, very clear po na nakasabi dun that the PCSO can hire naka-comply because transition po and then nangyari pa po itong may pandemic, so lalo pong na-delay po yung aming plano na i-comply po namin yung requirement ng PCS mo base po dun sa batas kung saan po sinasabi na PCSO should be present in all malasakit centers, Mr. Chair. I hope po sana maintindihan po ninyo, Mr. Chair, and by next year we will be able to comply, say, almost 100% by next year po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, kailangan ko pong ma-account yung sinasabi niyang budget doon sa mga malasakit center for 2020 dahil yan po ay wala sa budget. At the same time, Mr. Chair, ang tanong po natin, kung totoo yung sinasabi ni PCSO General Manager Garma na merong budget para dito, para di ba, para isa na lang pupuntahan ng ating mga mamamayang nangangailangan, na wala po, Mr. Chair, sa DBM, wala pong pinropose ang PCSO sa DBM. So wala po talaga. Kung meron po, magkano po ba dito sa budget ninyo na nilagay dito sa GAA?
GM Garma,
for 2021.
Mr. Chair, for 2020, Mr. Chair, yung malasakit center funding po kasi napapasaloob po yan ng medical access program po, yung MAP ng PCSO. Doon po namin kinukuha yung funding for the malasakit centers. So, for 2020, sa ngayon po, we were able to spend around almost 851 million po sa medical access program. Kasama na rin po dito yung malasakit centers kasi medical access program kasi yung source of fund ng malasakit center.
Mr. Chair, pwede po bang magbigay ng report? Pero ang tanong ko po, Mr. Chair, wala sa GAA ngayon itong sinasabi ninyong binabudgetan ninyo. Itong mga administrative and personnel. Naari po bang malaman kung magkano po ito, Mr. Chair?
Ma'am,
GM,
hindi po kami
pakisagot na
kasama
lang.
sa GAA. COB po kami, Corporate Operating Budget.
If I may
Ang
po,
sinasubmit
nasa
namin sa
slide
DBM.
24.
Pero, Mr. Chair, malinaw yan sa Section 13. Malinaw yan sa Section 13 ng nung RA, uh, 11463. Nakasama sila doon sa IRR. Excuse me,
Parang nauna
excuse
sa
me, meron po kaingay.
halimbawa siya bago ako. Sino yung kong bago ako?
Tama po siya. Congressman Nominal, pakimute muna. Baka kung ano yung marinig namin dito. Congresswoman Castro, please continue.
So, yun po, Mr. Chair, malinaw po yung yung RA 11463, yung PCSO po kasama ng DOH, DSWD, PhilHealth, na magka-craft ng IRR para dito sa sinasabi nilang Malasakit Center. Pero mukhang magiging lang ito parang naging vehicle lang ito nung naging parang baliwalaan lang ito kung sakali na kung wala rin naman ito palang pondo doon sa GAA for 2021, Mr. Chair.
Pakisagot po yung last question ni Congresswoman Castro.
Mr. Chair, if I may, you can find the MC contribution of PCSO under slide number 24, Medical Assistance Program for 2021 worth 2.75 billion po. And for 2020, 3.15 billion. Nandito po sa slide 24 as presented.
Thank you very much.
Meron pa po akong last question. One question lang po yun, Mr. Chair. Kasi po, hindi naman nasasagot ng maayos yung aking Last na lang po, Mr. Chair.
Ma'am, dahil malakas po kayo kay Kuya Jonathan at sa akin, banat na po ng last question. Thank you.
Anyway, last na po, Mr. Chair. Promise. So, sabi po sa RA 11463, kailangan yung gumawa kasama ng PhilHealth, DSWD at DOH ng guidelines para sa tamang implementasyon ng medical assistance. Pero napansin ko po sa IRR ninyo, walang solid safeguards to shield medical assistance funds against pork or prevent them from being used for political patronage. So can the PCSO commit to include an anti-pork provision in the supplemental IRR?
Okay, Mr. Chair.
PCSO, please answer the question para matapos na po.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will consider po yung suggestion ni Representative Franz po. Thank you po.
Naku, maraming salamat po. May suggestion si Congressman Ronnie hindi ko na siya para mabilis tayo. Why not daw, sabi niya, i-online na lang natin yung lottery. Sa through mobile phone, 'di ba? 'Di ba yung mga iba nasa cellphone na, baka pwedeng ganun na lang gawin natin. Total, sabi naman ni Congressman Suntay, yung loto natin, operator, matagal nang expired at hindi natataasan. Baka siguro panahon na para gawin natin online para mas marami makataya dahil may pandemic, hindi na sila kailangan lumabas ng bahay. Yun po ay suggestion lang ni Congressman Ronnie.
Chairman.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Kuya.
Baka pong natapos na po natin yung listahan ng mga magtatanong ngayong araw na ito. Siguro po, Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chair, pwede pahabol lang before we, manifestation lang.
Mr. Chair.
Because, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Yes, sure, Mr.
Yung
Chair.
sa lang, considering that even GM Garma stated na talagang luma na yung mga machines na talagang expired na ulit yung extension ng kontrata, in-extend nyo ba ulit or you're in the middle of the extensions pa? Kasi ang isa-suggest ko, dahil even if you bid out yung Lotto next year, it will take the new operator siguro mga 2 years bago sila makapag-operate ulit. So we're looking at another 3 years. I think PCSO should first negotiate better terms from the existing operators considering na puro lumang machine yung ginagamit.
Okay lang kung Suntay, siguro papasyalan natin yung mga operator na yan, tulad yung mga supplier. Kung sino, site visit na lang natin para wrap up na tayo. Anyway, Kuya Jonathan.
Mr. Chair.
Ano yan, Kuya Jonathan?
Mr. Chairman,
Kuya Jonathan.
Mr. Chair,
Terminal, may I know, Mr. Chair? I had registered earlier to interpolate. Bakit hindi ako natawag?
Also, Congressman Rodriguez, Mr. Chair.
Congress,
Also, 2
sorry,
hours ago, I registered for the first round. 2 hours ago.
kilalanin.
Mr. Chair,
Sabihin mo wala si Robos.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Chair? Si Congressman Rufus
Isa lang yung
Rodriguez,
tanong ko.
wala po kasi sa listahan kanina kong.
Mr. Chair, what about Congressman Waminal, Mr. Chair?
Congressman Waminal, nakapagsalita na po ba kayo kanina? Number 3 po kayo eh.
Hindi po.
Sige po. Tong, kung
siguro
pwede, bilisan natin kasi yung mga ibang kasamahan natin na tapos na sa Netflix, bumabalik na po.
Mr.
Please,
Chair, only one
direct your
question,
questions na.
Mr. Chair, for the General Manager.
Okay. Congressman Waminal, please, pakisabi na yung question nyo para ano. Yung pinapanood natin, sino ho ba nanalo dyan?
Mr. Chair, am I recognized?
Yes, Congressman Waminal, you are now recognized. Deputy Speaker Waminal, you are now recognized.
Mr. Chair, am I recognized, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Congressman Waminal, Mr. Deputy Speaker Waminal, you are now recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I would just like to inquire from the General Manager if sometime last March or April, the PCSO had been giving financial assistance to different DOH retained hospitals and including some local government hospitals in relation to this pandemic. May I know if am I right with my manifestation?
PCSO, can you please answer the question?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Chair. 14 LGUs and 82 government hospitals in response po dito sa pandemic, Mr. Chair. A total of 462,737,000 pesos po yung na-release as calamity assistance to these 82 hospitals and 14 LGUs, Mr. Chair.
And my question now, Mr. Chair, why is Mayor Hilarion A. Ramiro Medical Center, a DOH retained, COVID retained facility in my province, was not included in those 82 hospitals for such financial assistance when it is serving not only the province of Misamis Occidental, but also even the neighboring provinces of Lanao del Norte and Zamboanga del Sur?
GM, can you please answer?
Yes. Ganito po, Mr. Chair, nung pong nag-declare po ng lockdown po ang OP, ito po yung last na work na kumbaga we requested the board to approve itong 82 government hospitals. Actually, hindi rin kami aware dun sa ibang hospital na later part na lang po na sinabing they are also used to respond on COVID po. So, ito yung first respond po namin and then wala na po kaming second wave na funds na calamity assistance na naibigay sa iba pang hospital that also requested for assistance, Mr. Chair. Una po, yung funds kasi namin is depleted. Wala na po. When we have no games na po, ang nasustain na lang po namin is the medical access program po namin, yung financial assistance for the patients. More than 3 months po kaming operation, so yun na lang po. Kung ano na lang po inakasya na naiwan na kinita namin from January to March, yun na lang po ipinakasya din namin extend up to this month po, Mr. Chair. Kung hindi po naisama yung hospital, kami po humingi na dispensa, Mr. Chair. Baka po, ngayon po nag-resume yung operation namin kung maganda po ang pagbebenta po namin ng ticket na we will now reconsider also other hospitals. In fact, I have received a request also from other hospitals na humihingi din po ng financial assistance. But for now, we are focused on the medical access program po, yung sa individual. But pag maging regular na po, kahit ma 50% po yung sales, Mr. Chair, we will consider other hospitals po na hindi po naka-avail nung first wave na nagbigay po kami ng calamity assistance.
Thank you, GM. Alam niyo, GM Garma, ako nagpapasalamat. Siguro kailangan bumili na rin ako ng lotto ticket para yung vendor ay matulungan din.
Mayroon akong clarification, Mr. Chair. Yung Mars Medical Center, original na referral facility ng COVID.
Congressman Rodriguez, you're not yet recognized. It's still Congress Deputy Speaker Waminal time. Congressman Waminal, pakituloy po yung tanong niyo pa.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The explanation of the General Manager, I think, is a little bit not satisfactory because Mars Medical Center is an original retained COVID facility hospital from the beginning. No, kasama din yan sa nagsiserve ng ni-lockdown. As a matter of fact, may mga neighboring hospitals kami, like the case of, I think, Lanao del Norte and Misamis Oriental, were included in that financial assistance. Yun nga nakapagtataka, bakit yung Mars Medical Center, which is serving originally COVID patients, no, from the start of the pandemic, ay hindi na isama. Kung anong basis nila, bakit yung ibang hospitals na medyo yan local government funded, ito DOH retained hospital. No, it's no longer, it's not only serving one LGUs but different provinces in the area. That's why tinatanong ko kung anong nagiging basis, bakit hindi sinama? Kung sinasabi niya only those original, this is one of the original hospitals that is designated by DOH as COVID retained facility.
Congressman Waminal, thank you for your last question. GM Garma, pakisagot na lang po yung last question ni ating Deputy Speaker Waminal.
So, yes, sir. Mr. Chair, actually, ang basehan po ng selection namin is based on the recommendation of our branch office. Baka na-miss lang po siya ng branch office and we will look into this, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
thank you very much,
Deputy Speaker. I think okay na yan. Thank you very much sa mga pumunta ngayong araw na to.
The Minority Leader, Mr. Chair.
Minority Leader.
Mr. Chairman, Congressman Rodriguez, Mr. Chairman.
Tapos ka na kanina, Minority Leader.
I requested for the second round, Mr. Chair, para manifestation lang ito.
Maiksi lang ba, Minority? Unahin ko muna si Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, hindi pa siya nakaisa eh.
Question and a manifestation, a short manifestation.
Minority, unahin ko muna si Congressman Rufus Rodriguez because hindi pa siya nakaisa. Congressman Rufus, you're now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do you know if President Fred Lim is present for PAGCor?
Yung local branch office.
Wala po ngayon si...
Pati-off mo na yun sa'yo, Henry.
PAGCor present ba daw si Fred Lim? Wala po siya ngayon, Kong Rufus.
Okay, is the chairman present, our good friend, Chairman Domingo?
Wala po siya ngayon kasi may problema po dun sa kanila. Nagpadala po ng letter si Chairman Domingo sa akin, pero si President Fred Lim, wala po siyang pinadalang letter. Kaya hindi ko po alam ba't siya wala.
May we know, Mr. Chairman, who is now representing the highest ranking PAGCor? Because I can ask the question to him.
Okay, PAGCor, sino yung highest ranking sa inyong tatlo? Can you recognize yourself?
My name is Bong Quintana. I'm the Vice President for Support Services Group.
Ayun, Congressman Rufus, si Vice President nandito. Pakitanong na po.
Yes, my question to the Vice President is, I wrote the PAGCor last year requesting for the construction of 3 evacuation centers. This was even before COVID because, Cagayan de Oro was hit by Typhoon Sendong, The waters in the Cagayan de Oro River would rise if there's so much rain in Bukidnon. So that's the first one. I would like to get some feedback on my letter. Second letter is I have requested last year for school supplies. And again, this was before COVID, and now it is even more necessary because of classes will start on October 14, although online, you will have to do a lot of pencil pushing at home. So may we know about these two letters, whether we can be able to have them already for the after this briefing, Mr. Chairman.
You're now recognized, Mr. Vice President. Hindi ko makita yung pangalan niyo, sorry sorry sir, malabo yung mata ko.
Bong na lang.
You're now recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I have to turn over that question to another Vice President who's in charge of the corporate social responsibility.
Okay, Vice President Robredo.
Vice President Chairman Jimmy Bondok.
Ay, Vice President Jimmy Bondok, I'm sorry.
He's the one.
Okay, nandiyan ba si Vice President Jimmy Bondok?
Yes, sir. Good evening again, sir.
Mr. Vice President, can you be the one to answer
Yes,
with that?
Your Honor, I would like to explain just a little bit, no, that first of all, sir, you have our word. We are continuing the processing of the multipurpose evacuation centers and as well as the school supplies. Ano po? There was a very big policy change with regard to the MPEC because what we have done now is we have dealt directly now with the local governments so that we enter into financial grants with the local government to so that they may do the procurement, ano, para maiwasan po yung ating maraming red tape at of course subject to liquidation. So we are now in the process of validating all the lots. Ang sa inyo po, sa uungkatin ko po o titingnan ko po kung nasaan siya dun sa ano, pero wala naman ho kami tinanggal sa listahan ng mga aming unang binavalidate. We just changed the policy with regard to yung kami pa po yung magpapaprocure through the PWH. Ngayon po ay sa local government na po kami nakikipag-usap.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Yes, sir.
And, Mr. Chairman, can I just therefore give the specific barangays where we would like to request? It's a big city, Cagayan de Oro, and we requested for 3 evacuation centers in the 2nd District, Cagayan de Oro, Barangay Consolacion, Barangay Makasandig, and Barangay Nazareth. And the letter also for the school supplies is for the elementary and the high school, public school students of the 2nd District. So we'd like to follow up with the Vice President. We'll get the number from the Secretariat so that we can be able to follow up that particular request. If we can have that, if we can reconsider, Mr. Chairman, because the pandemic is hitting Cagayan de Oro very much now. No? There's an increased surge now in Cagayan de Oro. So we need, the evacuation centers would become our quarantine centers, Mr. Chairman. Okay. And then the supplies will be needed, Mr. Chairman, for the school supplies for this coming October opening of the public school. Now, my second part, Mr. Chairman, very short questions will now go to PCSO. So I thank PAGCor, Chairman, of course, Domingo and President Fred Lim, and the Vice Presidents who are here. And I'd like to make special mention in thanking Thibaut Villaflor. Your liaison has been very, very helpful to me and my constituents on request to the PAGCor, to Thibaut Villaflor. Thank you very much. So on the PCSO to Vice President, to Vice Chair and General Manager Garma, first let me ask you about, there is a letter request from the Cagayan de Oro, Misamis Oriental Lotto Agents Association. They are requesting, they are now into Lotto, you have reopened Cagayan de Oro August 7, and they thank you for that. And they are requesting if they can have a mechanism to be able to receive 1 peso bets, because right now, Lotto is receiving 12 pesos bet as a minimum. And to fight the suertres in Cagayan de Oro, Misamis Oriental, the illegal numbers game, which is still proliferating, they are saying that since they are the official legal Lotto outlets, that they would be able to receive the 1 peso bet because this is where they go, those illegal suertres financiers are the ones getting this 1 peso. And so illegal gambling continues in Cagayan de Oro. So may we know from USEC, from Vice Chair Garma about the request of the Misamis Oriental Cagayan de Oro Lotto Agents Association. Thank you, Chairman.
GM Garma, can you please answer the last question of Kong Rufus Rodriguez?
Piso. Okay, Mr. Chair, yung sinasabi po ni Congressman po, yun po yung digit game po namin, wherein yung ticket, we sell it at 12 pesos.
Yes.
10 pesos plus the 2 pesos documentary stamp tax. So,
Yeah.
bali 12 pesos po yun, sir. Yun pong to consider na tumanggap kami ng piso na taya, na pinag-aralan na din po namin yon kung magbibigay kami ng piso-piso na taya. But yung cost, yung expense po kasi ng operating expenses will be higher. Kasi po yung papel na ginagamit po is a special paper. And then that means na pag piso ang taya, ibababa din po namin yung price payout noon.
Yeah,
But we already started na consider po yun, Mr. Chair. Yun nga lang po, mas malaki po yung operating cost namin compared po sa magiging return po ng aming investment. Pag piso-piso ang taya, kasi pag piso ang taya, sir, ang ticket mo, same ang laki, same kind of paper. Tapos may DST ka pa sa piso, that's 20% of the piso, so 120 na po yung cost niya. While kung 10 pesos plus that DST, yun po yung costing, Mr. Chair.
Malulugi
Kasi
pala,
aaralin
Kong
pa
Rufus.
namin, Mr. Chair, kung siguro magiging iba lang po yung magiging tool on how we collect the bet. Most probably, pwede po namin consider yung piso-piso.
Thank you po, GM, for considering that. Congressman Rufus, thank you po sa tanong na yan at mahalaga po
Mayroon
yan.
ako last na i-acknowledge, Mr. Chairman, because first, we thank by General Manager Garma because you can lower the cost of the paper, you can lower the cost of operation, because piso lang yan.
Yes.
But the point is, we want to fight illegal gambling. Why should this money, kung piso-piso yan, pag marami na yan, that's why lumalaki yung mga surplus sa Cagayan de Oro kasi ang piso, tinatanggap nila, tayo hindi, sa Lotto. So that's one. But I would like to end by telling our General Manager that you have a very efficient manager in Cagayan de Oro, Divina Salvacion, who has been helping congressmen in our referrals, and hundreds have been given medical assistance. Because of her accommodation, upon evaluation, she has been able to give to the recommendees of the Office of the Congressional Office. So kindly also tell her that we appreciate her, and if the General Manager can appreciate also and tell our Divina Salvacion of the good work she has been doing for our constituents Cagayan de Oro. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kong Rufus. Sana sa Benguet, ganun din ang PCSO sa Benguet. Kong Benny, nandiyan ka pa ba?
Yes,
Kong Benny, ngayon lang po ako makikiusap sa inyo. Meron lang po ako sama ng loob sa PAGCor. Baka pwede ako na lang magtanong ng last question. Total, nakatanong na kayo kanina. Ibigay nyo na po sa akin to.
Yeah, kung pwede lang ako magtanong ng isa lang.
Isa na lang tayong tanong. Isa sa inyo, tapos isa sa akin. Kasi ito, hindi ko lang mapalagpas yung PAGCor dito. Kaya kailangan ko lang itanong to. At saka kailangan ko lang talagang ilabas yung sama ng loob ko. Pero mauna kayo. Tapos last na ako, ha?
Opo.
Thank you, Minority. Game, Banat. You're now recognized.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Sana yung pong ginagawa ng PCSO sa Cagayan de Oro, gawin din po sa Maynila. Total, yun naman PCSO office sa Maynila.
PCSO, please.
Pwede ba?
Pwede daw.
Anyway,
Kong Benny, thank you,
naman, no? I just would like to ask PAGCor, ilan po ba ang nag-ooperate ngayong POGO sa buong Pilipinas?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Right now po, ang napayagan naming mag-resume are only 29 operators and 98 of its service providers po.
Okay, may I request that PAGCor would provide a list of all of those POGOs operating and how much taxes they pay the government, because PAGCor said that you will not allow any POGO outlet to operate if they are not paying the right taxes. Pwede po ba yun? Mr. Chair.
Sinong makakasagot from PAGCor?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Actually po, we are already in the process of publishing kung sino yung mga pangalan. We will be publishing to our website yung mga pangalan po ng mga POGO na napayagan mag-resume. But the exact amount po of the taxes they have paid, actually po nakapag-request na kami niyan sa BIR, but BIR has not furnished us
Pakisubmit
with
na lang po sa amin,
copy
sir,
of the
para
data.
mabilis. Pakisubmit na lang yung copy pag meron na. Oo.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. Yes.
Kung Benny,
Yes, please. Well,
thank
let
you
me
po.
give a short manifestation. I would like to say, no, that I'm not accusing PAGCor of anything, no. Only that I am telling PAGCor that if they will assume to let POGO operate, that they will also try to really strictly regulate those who are operating illegally. PAGCor has been a great help in a lot of things sa gobyerno at sa mga LGU. And I appreciate the help that you have been giving. But the thing is this, no? Sana po baguhin nyo na yung inyong primer sapagkat your primer is more accusative than actually informing the people. So yun lang po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you po, Minority Floor. Thank you po. Congressman JJ Suarez, pwede bang ako na lang tong last question? Okay, wala na siya.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Chair.
Kung JJ, last question na kasi to, baka pwede ibalato mo na sa akin to dahil itong sama ng loob ko sa PAGCor, matagal na po to. Baka pwedeng tutukan mo na rin itong gusto kong i-expose. Pwede ako lang magtatanong?
I'm gladly giving you my time.
Thank you.
Please, ilabas nyo na yung sama ng loob nyo.
Okay. Kay Vice President Jimmy Bondok, nandiyan ka ba?
Sir, Your Honor, good evening.
Sir, alam nyo na yung atraso nyo sa akin, ha? Last year pa tayo nagkita. Sinasabi nila, magaling ka daw kumanta. Sabi ni Congressman Suntay, libre daw pag kumanta. Bakit nung tinawag kita para kumanta sa girlfriend ko, nung anniversary namin, pagkatapos, naghiwalay kami? Ano kung nangyari? Kumanta ka po nun, Let Me Be The One. Hanggang ngayon, hindi ko makalimutan yan. Pangalawang taon ko na ako sinasabi sa inyo yan. Ano po ba nangyari?
Sir, currently po, lahat ng multipurpose evacuation center ninyo request ay pinoprocess namin.
Ayun. Thank you po. Maraming salamat po sa PAGCor at sa PCSO. Thank you po sa inyong pagtsatsaga sa amin at itong pagtatanong namin ay talaga namang para sa bayan to. Yes, Kong?
Yes, I think we share the same sentiment. Yung evacuation center. Mr. Chairman, considering that we have already called all the members, I move to terminate the budget briefing for PCSO and PAGCor.
I second, Mr. Chair.
Hearing second. Hearing no objection, the budget briefing is now terminated. Bye-bye.